bring honor to his father, and his mother rejoices. How do you think Obama's parents felt when he became president? And how do you think Atayi's mother was feeling? Because when God gives you the gift of your children, please, they are not yours to keep. They are not your bona fide property. It's for you to steward. It's for you to take care of and then give them back to the world as a gift for them to be able to benefit all of us. So yes, you don't want your children to follow the rules. As for your house, everybody does what they want. But guess what? That child is going to grow up to become somebody's spouse, somebody's employee, somebody's friend, somebody's partner, and everybody will suffer. Last night, I was having a conversation with a friend, and I said to him, Africa's biggest problem is low-quality human beings. We just don't have quality human beings. Because I didn't understand why, when I was in grad school, 7 a.m., 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, they will be at the bus station in the cold, winter time, wearing jackets, standing there waiting for buses. They will get on the bus, scan their cards, sit down quietly, get off. Even when we are sending your 7-year-old to the car to go and get something, hey, where is Auntie Efia? No. When you show your children that you trust them to take care of themselves, they teach you things that you didn't even know existed about them. In my school, when I find the most troublesome child, he becomes the school prefect for the day. I'll tell you, Kyle, make sure that nobody is there. Because I know that if I don't, he'll be the one to show them the way to go. So the trick is use their strength, use their weaknesses as their strength. So your son is hyperactive. First of all, stop giving them soda. Sugar is bad for children, period. Unless you want them to be energetic. But if you give me Calipo and now I'm jumping over the roof, give them smart juice, aka water. So the kids in my school know that the more you drink, the smarter you become. So smart juice, because children don't like drinking water at all. But when you tell them that you'll be as smart as if they like Superman, then they will pump themselves with water. And water helps with their memory, with their mood. It settles them. I always tell parents, it is not normal for your children to misbehave. It is not. Don't say that, oh, that's how children are. It is not true. Children were not born like that. It's because their nervous systems aren't built right. And how do you build a good nervous system? By having a routine, by having structures. The reason why schools are able to take care of 500 children every day is because we have a plan. 7 a.m. assembly time, 7:30, everybody in the class, 8 a.m. this, and they follow it. When we come to your house, they do what they want, when they want, how they want it, and then that's it. Oh, what time did your son sleep? This boy, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. If I'm lucky, 11. They have a choice at 5? No. Because if a 5-year-old has a choice as to what to do when I want to do it, imagine that 5-year-old as a 20-year-old in Legon. Encore class. They won't go to class. I always say that my parents did such a great job, and my grandmother did such a great job, that at 12, I used to go to ADB to collect my own MoneyGram that my father would send me. And I'll count it, and bring it to my grandmother. Can you trust your children to do that? Some of you, when you leave your children in the hall for 5 minutes, you already know. So you are hiding your things. We come to your house and it's like, hey, there are no chairs here. When you come to my school, everything is there. You touch it. They know not to. In fact, they don't even care to. Because being a preemptive parent saves you a lot of stress. Me, I don't stress when I'm with children. Because as soon as you come, orientation starts. You see this thing. Don't go and play with it. This one is Lego. You can play with it all you want. Don't let them go and touch it and then you start screaming, hey, Radi Mewu, hey, Akre, Dabi. Don't do that. Because when they get a taste of the forbidden fruit, you have to sack them from the Garden of Eden at that point. Seriously. I've already tasted it. Now you're telling me, even God that told them not to do it, you see, they still did. So it is written. Everything is there. Do not be a reactive parent. That's another thing I want to talk about. Some parents will be watching the kids like you've set traps for them. He's going to touch it too. He's going to touch it too. Why? Because when you do that and they get comfortable with you always running to come save the day, you become their God. So they only function when you're around. When you're not, okay, free Bonsu. That's why you have to wrap them with the word of God. In fact, they need to be sleeping, singing. When we were in Sunday school, it was very good. Read your Bible, pray every day, pray every day. If you want to grow, so it means if I don't read my Bible and pray every day, I won't grow. Hey. Then I read my Bible and pray every day. It was all part of the brainwashing they were doing. And it was helpful. My grandmother would tell you, before you come to me to ask me for something, go and ask God first. Because if he doesn't give it to me, I don't have anything. And look, now that I'm grown and she's passed on, bless her soul, when I need something, and I know you have it, before I come to you, I've already dealt with you, with God. I'll tell God, God, I know that this one has this thing. I want it. I beg, collect it for me. So when I come and you meet me, and you're like, hey, I was looking for you to give you the phone. I'm like, really? And when you teach your children that, when they come to you and you tell them you don't have, do you know what they go and do? What do they do? What do you think they will do? They will go and tell God that, please, I really want that toy. So your children will be praying for you. One of the quickest miracles I've ever experienced was when my goddaughter prayed for me. She literally prayed for me, let's say by 6. And by 7 p.m., the person had texted me. First of all, the person hadn't said yes to my request. But he texted me and said, why haven't you come for this thing that you wanted? I was like, okay. She prayed for me because I told her that we need this thing, and when we get this thing, I'll get you this thing. So pray for me. Teach your children that the first person and the first being to go to is God and not you. So that when you're not there, like Jesus found himself with just the devil, he will run to God. Because some of our children are so dependent on us that, hey, they can't even sleep without you next to them. Oh. Tell them that it is written that I will forever be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Tell them that though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, because they are really afraid of the dark, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me. Now let's talk about something that really is important to me at this point: naming your children. Some people's children are called Shakira. Shakira, what does that mean? My name is Precious, and for a very long time, I didn't used to say my name is Precious. You meet me because you say I'm Kwesi, right? And then I'll tell you I'm Precious. And then people say, but who isn't Precious? But that's really my name. And my name held my leg for a long time. There are so many things I wanted to do with my friends, and then I'm like, this one is not precious enough. Because my name didn't fit a lot of the things that my mates were doing. But if your name is Rose, well, there are some names that open doors. Oh, my name is, if I say Rollins, what comes to mind? If I say Bill Gates, what comes to mind? You start seeing dollar signs. So names are important. That is why in the Bible, the angels will come and announce the children's names. This one will be called Emmanuel, because God is with us. And that was true of Jesus. He was God on earth, and he was with us. So don't just pick names because Ayemide, the name is sweet. It rhymes with my surname. Kwesi Mintim. It's really nice. No. Choose names and actually pray about those names, because it will have an effect on that child. Imagine Abraham that's stealing something from you. Come on. And make sure they understand their names. Because today was the first time a 37-year-old man knew what his name meant. His name means the friends of rivers. Wow, look. So even if you've named your child, it's not too late. You can go and change it. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, right? We have to be sensitive as parents. I told you that the manual that you have for your parenting journey will be the Bible. Go to the source of the gift. The one that gave you the gift has given you a manual. To read the manual and know what to do when this happens. And you've decided to wing it, to do it as the world is doing it. So everybody is singing, Coco Melon, Coco Melon. You too, you're joining. Your children don't even know the 10 Commandments. Even though it's been bundled into 2, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. Yesterday, 2 boys were fighting over a football, the ball. and I took it. And the boy fought me. He was kicking me. He was beating me. And why do you think he knew how to do that? Because he has been doing that and getting away with it. Oh, but I taught him a lesson. No. So if you don't want to feel guilty, put the fear of God in your children. Do you know what that means? What is the fear of God? It's the beginning of wisdom, no? Put the fear of God in your children. Let them have reverence for authority, because it is written that you should honor your father and mother. Once they know what is written, because if you tell your child, be holy, they will ask you why. Because it's written that be holy because I am holy. Do you know that it's in the Bible? Proverbs 23, verse 13 to 14. Do not withhold discipline from a child. Proverbs 23, 13 to 14. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish them with a rod, they will not die. I didn't say you should abuse your children. Because the biggest form of abuse that exists right now in this generation is neglect. So many children are neglected. They are sitting at home with their moms and dads, but they don't know them. Some mothers go and ask their nannies, this boy, what food does he like to eat? Hey, say, oh, want to pay Indomie pow. He likes Indomie. And yeah, be man. Okay, Kojo, I'll be back. Okay, bye. Neglect. So your children become rebellious because they need your attention. They want you to react because the only time you pay attention to them is when he's destroying your TV. So every day I'll break that TV. If you neglect me, I'll show you where the pepper lies. But if you are proactive to show them kindness, sometimes just be walking about, he's playing and just rub your hands in their hair to know that you are there. Oh, come and sit next to me in the couch, regardless of what they are doing. So many people are grown up, but they have terrible attachment styles. Some people, as soon as you become friends with them, they will call you every day because they are afraid you will leave. Because their parents were leaving them every single time. So they think you are one of them. But when you've built a healthy relationship attachment style, and I tell parents and I tell caregivers and teachers, do not think that the fact that they can't talk doesn't mean they can't hear you or they can't listen. If a baby is crying and they are even 3 months, tell them, you don't need to cry, blah, blah, blah. Talk to them. Because here we wait to talk to children when they are 5 or 7, when they can talk back. And then we say that, oh, I think he's having speech delay. No speech delay. You learn how to talk because somebody taught you how to talk. You don't talk to your children. They don't know you. You don't know them. Sing to them. My mother always made songs, and one of the songs that she made for me was multi-talented, multi-talented. That is, I don't remember the words, but she kept saying that. And I became multi-talented because I wanted to, make her happy. So even if I don't know how to do something, I'll say I can do it and go learn how to do it. Speak to your children. Tell them the truth. If you can't buy the toy, tell him, I don't have money. Pray to God to give me money. And they will respect you for that. Be ready before you have children, because it's a lifetime commitment. You can't run away from your children. They will always be there. When I was on television doing Play and Learn, again, these were children from other people's homes. And the first episode, if you ever watched the first episode, I suffered. Because I didn't know them, they didn't know me, and we literally met an hour before the program. And this one was doing this, and that one was doing this. But by the 5th episode, oh my God, they all fell in line. Because they know. Sometimes even your voice as a parent is not parenting enough. Hey, go and sit in the corner somewhere. But I look at children in the face and I'm, oh, sweetie, can you please take a seat, please? And they're like, yeah, Miss Precious. Meanwhile, the mom has been shouting for 30 years and she still can't see the chair. As for the fathers, forget. Hey, and that's why Peter and the disciples says, hey, children, go away. And Jesus said to them, let the children come to me, because these are the ones that the kingdom of heaven belongs to. So Peter was just like our fathers. Hey, go and sit in the corner somewhere. What are you doing here? But when the same Peter and the disciples needed food to feed the 5,000 people, whose food did they get? A small boy, Abi. So they have gifts in their hands that if you are careful to nurture them and you are careful to love on them, they will give you those gifts. They do. The Bible says, do not despise these little ones, because their angels go up and down heaven every day. If you want the quickest way to get your answers, your questions to heaven, send your children. Tell them that, hey, today we won't eat. I beg, go and tell God your Father that we need food. And you would see what will happen. I'm telling you. Africa, I feel, is struggling because we neglect our children. We have despised them. They are in the corner somewhere. And we are chilling. In the West, children first, women second, dogs third, and then the men. So the men are the fourth on the line. Meanwhile, they are paying all the bills for the first three. Because they know that if you put the children first, they are pulling down from heaven, from source. They don't have the sins that you have. So when they are praying, it's like, okay. As for you, when you are praying, they are thinking, hey, this one. No. Did you see what he did yesterday? So we are despising them, and the heavens are closed unto us. Sometimes you look at some parents and you're like, hey, your own child. So imagine other people's 18 children. Teaching your children emotional intelligence is so important. Some parents have never made their children cry before. Oh, so a man, hey. They are crying. Give her the phone. Hey. And then the kid will snatch the phone. She's like, I'm not saying, hey, I can leave my phone here and 100 children will be here. Nobody will see it. Because it is written that do not touch my phone. Seriously. And I am the adult with nothing compromising on my phone. And yet, I teach my children not to touch it. Some of you, the things on your phone, it should be in another room and the children should be in the other room. But you are the person that will leave it. In fact, they start crying small. Hey, take the phone, I beg. Don't do that. Let your children understand that hunger is a thing. That you can be hungry and it is okay, you will not die. Do you know that you can live without food for 40 days? Maybe it's water. It is written, isn't it? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that emanates from God. So it's more important to feed your children with the word of God than it is to feed them with Indomie and Calipo. Seriously. I can fast for 72 days, no food. 72 hours, no food. Some people, 3 hours, Jesus, because my mother will feed her 6-month-old baby 3 times a day. And I'm like, hey, the baby will die. And the baby didn't die. I am here, am I not? And because of that, if you are looking to poison me, you'll be there for a very long time. Mimindi. The fact that there's food in your fridge does not mean they should eat it. It should be there until it is time. Don't give them access to everything, because the day they can't access things, they will find a way to find them. And it's either by stealing or whatever else. So we have young men and women who can't be broke for 2 days. They have to find money, come what may. And we all know how they find it, don't we? I don't need to bore you with that. But if they knew that it is written that money acquired swiftly leads to death, and that he who gathers little by little will be blessed, they will know that there are times and seasons, and time to have and a time that you wouldn't have, and it's okay. And you should wait. Some people, their car will break down, and that day the children won't come to school. When you meet them, oh, why didn't the kids come to school? Oh, my car, what happened to Uber? What happened to taxi? What happened to Trotro? So you raise children to think that when daddy's posh car is not there, no school. So if you lose your job and there's no posh car, and now you are saying we should go to school in Trotro, do you think they will go? They wouldn't. Because the only vehicle they've ever been subjected to is their father's car. And even that, if daddy's car has now turned from 4x4 to 1x1, then that one too they don't like. You see children saying, me, I don't like this food. Me, I don't like this food. It's nice for them to have an opinion, but don't let them feel entitled to anything. Entitlement is killing us. It's killing this generation. It's like, hey, I have to have it. Nobody owes you anything. That's what my grandmother told me, that your father doesn't owe it to you to pay your school fees, because some of your cousins, they don't even know where their fathers are. So be grateful that you have a father that pays for your school fees. Teach your children gratitude. That toy I gave you, I spent hours breaking my back to get money to get it for you. So take good care of it. I'll tell you a story about a child in my school. She's 6. Who literally left her homework book, it was scattered, and a teacher sent her to me because I have meetings with children. And when other children are misbehaving, the other kids will say, Miss Precious, this one, he needs a meeting with you. Because one meeting is all it takes. And after the meeting, I'll tell you to pray to God for forgiveness, because really, I can't do anything. It's him that you've offended. She came, and I was like, why did you do this? She was just looking at me. You know that their face. And I said that, do you know that when God gives you something and you don't take good care of it, he takes it away from you? She was looking at me. I said, God gave your parents money to bring you to school, get you books, teachers to teach you, and you've decided to irresponsibly destroy it. Let me tell you about the story in the Bible of the talents. And the man that was going away that gave 10 talents to one person, 2 to the other, 5 to this one, and 1. Now, the one that had 1 went to dig and hide and said, oh, I knew you, master, you are very dangerous, so me, I hid it for you when you come. Then the one with 10 multiplied it, and he took that 1 and gave it to the one with 10. I told her that story, and I said that this book you've ripped, God will take it away from you and give it to somebody who will take good care of it. In the same vein, when he gives you a gift and you take good care of it, he gives you more. He gives you more. And I helped her mend the book. And her mother met me 2 days after, and she said, Miss Precious, what happened in school? I said, why? She said, my daughter has been saying we are not responsible in the house and that God will be taking things from us. Say, yay. Why? I knew what she was talking about. Said, why? Say, these days when you put something, you say, hey, God will take it away from us. But that's a lesson that she will never forget. And she's 6. And she took it home. Charity begins at home. So teach your children things that nobody can take away from them, because it is written that where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be. And what are the things that your children treasure? Is it the toys, the books, the material things, or the principles of God that nobody can take away from them? The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And wisdom is knowing what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That's all. You may know a lot of things, but if you don't have the wisdom to apply what you know, you really be sitting there. There's a lot to think about. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, and let us not grow weary of doing good. Don't be tired of being a good parent, because it is work. Some parents are so quick to give up. You say it once, and if he said no, it ends there. You shouldn't do that. You should let them know that as for mommy, she will say it until I do it. Persistence. Don't stop. Be consistent, that they know that anytime you see them sitting where they shouldn't sit, you will say it, and let them expect that. Be a predictable parent. They know that as for mommy, when she comes in, I've taken this right, she will now be talking plenty. I know my mom so well. I know my uncle so well. I know my dad so well. I know what makes them tick. My grandmother told me a proverb that said, Yen kawasema. Do you know that thing? Can you finish it for me? Yen kawasema. What happens? Yen kawasema. Ohobon bibi. I can't say the bibi. But apparently there was a king in the Ashanti kingdom who nobody ever said anything to. fearful. Nebuchadnezzar. Hey. And then one day he was having a durbar, so he was walking in, and his cloth took parts of a chicken's poo-poo. Nobody could tell him. So he was sitting there the whole time, and people were like, So if you don't talk to your children, if you don't tell them the things that they are doing that they shouldn't do, sometimes I don't understand why we see children, even children speak bad English. You know the right thing to tell them, and you didn't tell them. Oh, they does this thing, and then you are still speaking with them. Yes, and he does it, eh? He does. All you had to do was say, no, they did this. Teach them. Because it is written. Children are a heritage from God. Psalm 127, verses 3. And a reward from him. I told you that giving birth to a child takes 9 months. But parenting that child is a lifetime commitment. You can leave the spouse that you had the child with, but that child will never go. So make sure that your children do not grieve you. They don't make you angry. They make you angry because you haven't given them anything. So I always say that it's as though Ghana has set traps for all of us. Do not litter. But you haven't put any dustbin there for me to put the litter in. So, what should I do? Oh, we have to work hard. Where's the job? We have to be excellent in spirit. Where are the examples? None. We have to strive to be financially independent. Who is financially independent that you know? So there are no examples for us. So maybe your children are struggling because you have not eaten the word enough. My mom and my grandma had a Bible verse for everything you do. Sometimes I thought they were lying. It's like, hey, this one day it's not inside. But you go and check, and it's there. One time I was listening to a sermon, and I was like, should we really be praying for the things that we want? And I was led to a Bible verse that said, a lazy person wants many things, but a hard worker gets everything they want. When you are lazy, the things you want, hey, I want the car, I want this one. Because you have time to idle away, so you can dream. But other people are working to get what they want. A slackful person is like someone that is evil. It is written that if you are lazy, you are as unrighteous as the person next to you. When Jesus was able to do miracles with just a touch, he would just, somebody would just touch his cloth and they would be healed. It was because the guy woke up at 4 every morning to go onto the mountains and pray. And he would come back and say, hey, you people, you are still sleeping. So when he told his disciples, do miracles and they couldn't, he told them that some of these things you have to do with fasting and prayer. I'm sure they are like, hey, you this guy. So equip yourself as a parent, equip yourself as a young person who will soon become a parent in the future so that you have something to give. Because if not, your children will possibly come and teach you. There are so many parents that the children are the ones that are teaching them things. Oh, my teacher said that we should do this one and do this one. Because if you don't brainwash them, somebody else will. So please, let the word wrap around you. Know God, know His word, know Him so much so that He gives you answers to every problem that you have. When I feel anxious about the future, I remember that it is written that be anxious for nothing, but with prayer and supplication, make your requests known to God. And the peace that surpasses all understanding. So yesterday, the peace of God that surpassed all understanding was making me feel okay, taking care of 18 children. When I feel sad, dejected, and all of that, I remember that let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich. I think I said this to a friend of mine when he said, I don't have money to do this thing. Yeah. And I told her, let the poor say, I am rich. So knowing the word will really be a blessing unto you and your children. Please teach them emotional intelligence. Let them have good executive functioning skills like time management, adaptability. Give them chores to do at home. That's the best way to teach any child executive functioning skills. When you wake up in the morning, you sweep this part, you clean this thing, you go and throw the rubbish away, you do this. And you have to, and to be able to be successful in doing your chores, you need to learn how to plan, manage your time, be adaptable, have problem-solving skills. You need all of that because if not, they'll be watching Cheche Kule and you still be washing the dishes. I learned a big strategy washing dishes. And I grew up and learned that there was something called agile working, breaking your work into smaller parts so that you can quickly run through them. Because when you see it, it's a mountain. But when you break it down, it becomes small, small things that you can hold on to. And I will wash everything in the soap with the sponge the whole time. That's all I'll do. Then I'll empty that soapy water, put in clean water, start rinsing it quick. And then I'll start putting it in the basin to dry. And in 5 minutes, I do the job that would take somebody 1 hour. Because I was doing chores. Somebody taught me how to do chores. So when my cleaner doesn't show up, do you think the school will be dirty? I know how to sweep. So if you love your children, it is written that you should be careful to discipline them. You should be careful to teach them and instruct them. You should be careful to make sure that they are doing the things that glorify God, that honor God. Because whatever God likes, guess what? Human beings like it, don't we? And why do we like the things that God likes? Because it is written that I made man in my own image and likeness, no? So whatever you like, God likes it. And whatever you hate, He hates it too. And parenting is not a magical formula. It is a skill you have to constantly be trained at doing. You have to learn. You have to be looking for answers from people who know how. I am able to parent the children that I teach because I know the word. I am not a parent yet by virtue of parenthood, the act of giving birth to children, but I am a parent by virtue of taking care of them. Which means it's a skill, just like learning how to ride a car, a bicycle, all of those things. And ask God for help. We all really need to ask God for help and stop relying on our own understanding, because that one too is written, that trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. So you can say that, oh, I know my children, but trust in God to help you. Go to Him for help. Go to Him for answers to some of the things that bother you. Because Galatians 6 verse 9 says, again, let us not grow weary of doing good, of being positive parents. For in due season, in the future, we will reap if we do not give up. The parable of the fig tree is such a fascinating parable for me. And I'll tell you the other parable of the 10 virgins. The fig tree, the master said, this tree is taking space. It is not bearing any fruit. I came here, I wanted to eat from the fig tree, and there's nothing on it. Please cut it down. And the steward said, give me a year. I will put fertilizer and stuff on it. And when you come back and it's still not bearing fruit, then we can uproot it. So are your children going to bear fruit and feed the world? Or are they going to take up space that they need to be uprooted? Because by God's grace, the prophet of this house, somebody made him a fig tree that bore fruit. And so we are all benefiting from it. Ask yourself, what kind of fruits are we going to benefit from your own children? Because like I said in the beginning, they are not yours. They are not your property. They are for God. They are for man. They are to serve. They are to empower generations. They are to impact lives and honor God with their lives. The story of the 10 virgins, 5 of them took extra oil, and the foolish ones, it's not me that's saying it, it is written. The foolish ones carried no extra oil. And when the bridegroom arrived and they had to go, their light was out. So they had the potential. They were all virgins. They also had light. They started well. But in the middle of life's journey, the oil ran out. And they said to the wise ones, can you give us some of your oil? And the wise ones said to them, no, I cannot. Give your children extra oil. What are the extra oil? Aside going to school, aside feeding and nourishing their bodies, aside feeding their mental capacities, they score 100 over 100. Give them godly principles that guide their spirit and their souls. That is the extra oil they need, because everybody can read, everybody can write, everybody can speak, but not everybody has excellent spirit. And that's what will set Daniel, Meshach, Abednego, those 3 Jewish boys, plus Daniel, that set them apart from the Babylonians. And they became the leaders of their generation. That is the excellent spirit that set Joseph apart. And in Potiphar's house, he became the leader. That set him apart to become a prime minister. That set him apart that even in prison, the wardens made him leader, because he had an excellent spirit. Everybody can read. So your children can be tall, nice, well-fed, wear all the designer clothes. They can be smart in school, rah, 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 hey, English, this, that. But are they kind? Are they empathetic? Do they have the fear of God? Do they have wisdom to know when to do things and when not to do things? Some children just open their mouths and say anything, because you haven't told them that it is written that you have to guard your mouth. It's in the Bible. Because even a fool, when they learn to keep quiet, are considered wise. It's in the Bible. So sometimes I have a lot to say, but I hold myself because I don't want to be a fool. So make your children one of the 5 wise virgins, so that they will go and meet the bridegroom, which is life. It is waiting for them. Life will wait for them, whether you like it or not. They will go to school. Most people after high school, they never come back home. It's a wrap for you. They go to uni and buy. Have you given them extra oil of diligence, hard work? Have you given them the extra oil of fearing God and going to God for all their needs and not following everything they see? Have you given them the extra oil of patience to wait for their season. Have you? If they don't have that extra oil, their light will go dark. And the Bible said, again, it is written, make sure that your light doesn't become darkness. So children are a light in your world, but they can become darkness in the future in your world and in the world at large. So that extra oil is important. It will set them apart. As a mother, it will make you rejoice. As a father, you will be honored. As a society, we will all be proud of that child. It is written that the pain of discipline at the moment is not pleasant, but the future glory and the future fruits will make your children even forget some of the things that they had to go through. Self-control is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Are your children able to regulate themselves and say that I really want to do this, but my mother says that, or I can't do this because this? And they will only do it if they fear God, really, and you teach them to. Because it is written that train up a child the way they should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. I wake up at 4 every morning because I was trained like that. Not because my mother is telling me to wake up. They will not depart from it. You have until age maximum 12 to give them the 12 fruits of the Spirit. So take 1 year. Every year you give them one. Joy, peace, kindness, gentleness. Keep going until they are 12. When Jesus was left in the temple, his mom and dad didn't go and meet him drinking with the other boys. He was in the temple doing his Father's work. That's what he said. I will end by saying, again, that whatever your hands finds to do, please do it with all your heart and with all your mind. And with all your strength, as if you were doing it for God, the one who sees in secret, because he will reward you. Your children will honor you. Your children will call you blessed because you did your job. Thank you very much.